I usually don't engage with an ethno or racial centrist, but I made an exception. I do it primarily. I do it primarily to I do this primarily to I can send this out. I'm just tweeting this out real quick so people know that I'm live. I am live. Oh, there we go. Sorry, folks. Just had to point out that I am live. And I might share this on Facebook. I got another like here. I really like that. Oops. Do, 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 do. I can post this up on Facebook later. And I'll just post this show up. And if anyone wants to listen, they can listen. If they don't, well, they don't. I don't really care one way or the other. But bear in mind, well, I do post this video, and then I'm going to talk about a video that I watched. And I cannot post. Okay. History of newbies. So I cannot post on that. And I'll post this video, and then I won't talk anymore. I'm done. All right. Let me just go off this real quick and go back onto my StreamYard. Well, I noticed I got another like on this video. Actually, I'm going to go back into YouTube. I want to go into this conversation I had. I was watching. I was watching a video from a gentleman called Black to Africa. He's your man, not your boy. I don't know what else he says, but he was commenting on a situation that happened in South Africa where an African struck a European with a whip. And there were a lot of people who said, yeah, it's about time that we start retaliating and getting back. It's a kind of racial vendetta, but this is what happens. And there was a gentleman from Europe. And he says, facts, my brother, sending respect from the UK. This is Richard B., a black person living in Britain. I don't know if he considers himself a British person. Now, he is not ethnically British, and Britain, like all other countries besides the United States, from my understanding, is a nation that is based on ethnicity, just like Japan is based on ethnicity. And I says, perhaps the UK could start accepting people of European descent living in South Africa to the UK, at least assuming that that can move to South Africa? I mean, why live amongst people you hate and that you have malice? And he says, I assume by your reply that you are of European descent, and I assume that you live in the United States of America. Well, he's right on those assumptions. At no point did I indicate that I had hatred for anybody. Okay, that I had hatred for anybody. I simply said facts and sent respect from the UK. It's clear to me, I assume that you have a problem with seeing local indigenous people whipping somebody indiscriminately. You probably wouldn't have a problem, I assume, if you saw somebody who wasn't indigenous whipping a local, which has gone on for centuries. No, that's an assumption. No, that's not true at all. I have a problem with whipping anybody. But I may give you advice as you kindly gave me some advice. Why don't you return to the land you stole from your indigenous people of the Americas and return to your homeland of origin, as you clearly have hatred for the indigenous people and other cultures that reside in your countries your ancestors stole. I find it quite amusing how appalling you no doubt find the image you have seen on this video, but you have been doing this other culture. You have been doing this to other cultures for centuries and still continue to do so without any form of repercussion or remorse. Well, that's an assumption. No. Perhaps you should keep your assumptions to yourself and not generalize. It's not an articulate or intelligent way to respond to a comment that you so clearly, I assume, interpreted the wrong way. When colonizers in America, Australia, and other parts of the globe return to their ancestral lands of origin, maybe those who are in Europe will think about returning with reparations, of course. Have a lovely day from the UK. Okay, and then I responded, that whipping was not an act of self-defense, just like the Rotherham grooming gangs was not consensual sex. Dependency with an angry face makes you a hypocrite. Fanaticism, hypocrisy, and gaslighting are tools of the abuser. You master those tools, being the hypocrite that you are. I fail to see what Rotherham grooming gangs has to do with the subject at hand. Well, again, he believes that the Rotherham grooming gangs are now native British people. Not so true. I think there's some gaslighting going on there and some sleight of hand. Being a hypocrite means you undermine something you said. Well, his lifestyle is that of a hypocrite. I think you need to check your vernacular. Remember, whipping isn't something that came from Africa. Again, we don't know where whipping, slavery certainly was all over the world. And I'm assuming that whipping, beating, and murder and rape were also all over the world as well. Don't take your frustrations on somebody because you don't like a reaction to something you find appalling. There are many things I see in the media which relate to people of color being treated appallingly, beaten, shot, and murdered. I somehow feel you don't have a problem with that. Grooming gangs, get a life. Point in the question, most pedophiles and people who groom are not from indigenous countries like Africa and the Caribbean. Most of the pedophiles and people who are apprehended in the UK are of European descent. Okay. Albert Einstein was right. Racism is a mental illness. Now I see what he meant. Have a nice week. Grooming gangs, and then a laugh about the grooming gangs. And then I said, you are a person of African heritage who has a vendetta against people of European descent. Why should British people not expel you? Why should British people accept you? Why shouldn't they expel you? You are like an adult, and then I respond again to another response. You are like an adult child who despises his parents, yet still lives in their house. So this kind of, for me, is the issue. And yes, 139 subs. Howard is not here yet. I will invite him for another show. But Susie, my favorite covert Marxist, she left Marxism, by the way, but she has a lot of Marxist ideals. And I am not. I am capable of getting a 10, so I'm not going to listen to the Twitter. It's nothing to do with the conversation. If you don't have anything to do with the conversation, but there is a video, by the way, of a person of European descent who's living in South Africa, being whipped by an African, and that gentleman. And again, I've watched his videos over time, and he is a person of racial vendetta, racial and ethnic vendetta against people of European descent. He's indicated that, on the few videos that I've seen, and again, what should you do with people like that? Well, this man lives in Africa, and of course, he doesn't like people of European descent. He finds people of European descent to be abusive. So he chooses to live in Africa. Others, however, want to tell people of European descent what to do and how to do it. Tell them how bad they are, how evil they are, how nasty they are. They come from foreign shores to despise you. And many on the left accept this. It is what it is. Well, you know what? This is off topic, but Susie says she likes my red shirt. So, and but I just want to go kind of down the rabbit hole. I saw Black Lives Matter in the UK, and again, blacks in Britain were not. Maybe there may have been a few, but the vast majority of blacks in the UK came by choice. They were not enslaved there. And High Ridges loves my race talk. Well, no, I mentioned that because it's hypocrisy. Leftists basically are gaslighters and are hypocrites, and it never stops. Well, it is the biggest form of hypocrisy that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I talk about it because it's philosophical hypocrisy, and it does bother me. And nobody seems to have a response to that. I don't think High Ridge Estates has a response. I think he's been voting my videos down, and maybe even reporting them to YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised if he was flagging it. But I'm just pointing out a response, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Gaslighting and hypocrisy are tools of the abuser, and that seems to be what leftists do best. And I notice how the left shut down any discussion about what's going on in South Africa, what happened in Zimbabwe, and how it relates today, because many of the people who are in Black Lives Matter or who are in the left talk they do talk South African, the racial, what do they call it? And I'm getting a call from Aaron from Texas, and I do not know why. Okay. And I don't know why someone called me from there. That was from far away. But imperialistic, chauvinistic, and just plain fun. Oh, imperialism. Imperialism and, colonialism was done by our elites. Slavery was done by the elites. Most people of European descent did not have a choice in the matter of whether we had African slaves brought to America and whether Britain colonized parts of the world. They were never asked if they wanted the British Empire to colonize places. They were also never asked if they wanted their largest cities replaced ethnically with non-British people. Never asked. These things don't happen in Japan, by the way. They don't happen in India. They seem to happen only in European places, or places with a large European population, and they also seem to happen in the West, of course. And tell me I'm wrong. If you disagree with me and you vote a thumbs down, tell me where I'm getting it wrong. I'd love to hear that. But there are more things I can go on about abuse. And like I said, gaslighting and hypocrisy are tools of the abuser. And that's what leftists do the best. They are hypocrites. Oh, well, Susie, now I wonder why Susie voted thumbs up, just due to the fact that we are ideologically opposed to each other, often anyway. She'll never come on my show and discuss with me. I will say respect for High Ridge Estate. He has actually gone on my show, although, again, he's admitted that he is so myopic that he cannot see past his own nose. He just believes himself to be so righteous and high and mighty that he doesn't even have to listen to most people. And that is one of the reasons why I had a problem with him and a heavy dislike at some points, just because of his, right here. Can't see past this right here. Anyway, you have called me out on my shit. And there are times when I have said shit, and if I'm saying shit, then I should be called out on it. If it's bullshit, then tell me it's bullshit. If it makes sense to me, I will absolutely change my view. I have no problem with that. Anyway, this has been Brian with Transparency and Merit. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Particularly if you're voting thumbs down, I'd like to know why. Because if I'm saying something incorrect and I'm missing a point, then I'd like to know why. Instead of just voting a thumbs down, I'm open to conversation. Also visit our website. So as I said before, go to transparencyandmerit.com, follow me on Twitter, and yes. My reading comprehension is low. I said I ain't never call you shit, your shit, as your shit show. Okay, that is it. Okay, guys, anyway, I got to get going. And the few people that are here, it's been kind of a pleasure. In some ways it hasn't. Anyway, thank you, Susie, for voting thumbs up. Usually you dislike and hate what I say, but respect should be given to anyone. Well-being should be given to anyone. And people are worthy of rational and reasonable behavior. Like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. And visit our website, transparencyandmerit.com.